So on one end of the spectrum, right, you have your, on the left-hand side is your subject matter expert, right? Your subject matter expert, maybe if you're developing a banking application, it's going to be a chartered accountant, right? And on the right, you have the automation engineer or the test engineer or the manual script authoring engineer. So how do you bridge the gap in between these two? How do you take a test script and give it to a subject matter expert and get his validation saying, this is what I'm going to test. Do you think this is adequate? And more often than not, the subject matter expert is a very non-technical person. He's an expert in his own domain, but not in the software domain, like the way we understand tests and test scripts. So this is how your typical testing works. So on the left-hand side, you have, let's say, 5 steps, right? So I've taken the example of TripAdvisor. So that's one of the applications that I use pretty often. So you have, go to www.tripadvisor.com, click on hotels, check the checkbox. So if you try to send this to the subject matter expert, it's very difficult for the subject matter expert to ascertain the coverage of the business flow of searching and booking a hotel. Because I've just shown 5 steps. Actually, the whole thing could be 25 to 30 steps. Now, is he going to be able to actually understand what you're giving? Is he going to be able to give you worthwhile comments? But instead, now if you look at the center, right, the same set of steps has been distilled down, have been abstracted into 3 steps, right, which are high level. They look at them as like functions, like function calls. So you have search hotel, log into user account, purchase using credit card. Now that is something that a subject matter expert can easily understand, right? A test architect or a manager can easily understand and say, oh yeah, that's the flow. But you know what? In the use case that we wanted, we think the user should log in first and then search for the hotel, right? So looking at the center one, which is a test composed out of keywords, he can make a judgment saying, is the use case satisfied or the use case is not satisfied. But it's very difficult to do it on just the test steps. Now that you have the business flow, which you have composed using just the keywords, now you may want to execute the same exact business scenario on the website as well as on the mobile. And then you may want to run a report saying, how am I doing on the new version of the mobile app? How am I doing on the new version of the new version of the website? Because your company might have rolled out a new server, and then somebody has to make way up there, right, in the food chain, has to make a call saying, are we ready to roll? Are we ready to go live with this, or we see that there are problems on the mobile channel, but the web channel seems to be working fine, for exactly the same set of scenarios. So let's take a quick look at a demo. So this, I'm using Rational Quality Manager for managing the tests. In this, you would go enable channels, and once the channels are enabled, the channels will start showing up. And then you can see that I have 2 channels that I've defined here. One is a web channel, another is a mobile channel, right? I could define it any way I want. I could say, Android devices is one channel and iOS devices is another channel. But the key point is, how have I described the channel? Here you can see that I have described the web channel as Firefox. So my any test environment in which I have a Firefox browser defined, I can execute a web channel test in there. Now similarly for mobile, I have defined that any environment where I have a Android phone defined is an environment where I can execute mobile tests. Right? So this is I'm just walking through the setup of what all you will have to do to run a multi-channel test. So now we will look at test environments. So this is a sample test environment, which is defined as, there's a physical machine. It has an Android phone. It also has Firefox, right? So in this environment, it's in my the QA team or the build and release team has set up a test environment, which is enabled for testing on the web as well as testing on the mobile phone. And this is pretty typical before a rollout, right? I'm quickly switching back to a diagram to show what I am demoing, right? So you have the three environments. So you have a development environment which the developers are using to test, to run their unit tests and develop. On the left bottom, you have the validation environment, which is your QA environment. And then on top is the production environment. And the way we have done the setup now is that the mobile channel is defined only for the QA and the development environment, because we are not ready to roll the mobile app yet in production. So we need to make sure that the web and the mobile tests are run and the results are captured for the QA environment as well as the development environment. So now let's go actually look at a keyword. So for ease of for simplicity of the demo, I have defined one keyword, and then this keyword has two scripts defined for it. Right, and now the keyword you can define as what typically would be in a use case. Right, what will you have in the use case is how you can model your keywords according to that. You can build your domain-specific framework of keywords very close to the requirement doc or the use case doc, without actually having to write a single line of script yet. Now we can see that I have two scripts that I have associated, one for the mobile channel, another for the web channel. Right, the one for the mobile channel is a RTW mobile test, and one for the web channel is a RFT browser test. That's how I have configured it now. You could configure it with any of your favorite tools that you want. Right, you can see that, like I was saying, the mobile is a rational test workbench script. Now that I have defined the scripts that are going to execute, I go start composing the high-level script. Remember the one that we were seeing, which is what is composed using keywords, which is what the thing that is easy to read. Now here, while composing this verify hotel search script, we are not worried too much about is this a manual test, is this a mobile test, or is this a web automation test? We're just going to assemble this using keywords. Right here you see that we have one keyword, which is search hotels. For the ease of demo, I've just added one keyword here. You can even ascertain the coverage of the keywords to say what all channels is the keyword ready to be executed on. And then once I'm ready to run, when I come in my validation phase, I can go run this test case. Right? Now, while I'm running this test case, you can decide what channel do I want to run this test case on. Do I want to run it on the web channel or do I want to run it on the mobile channel? Now, so based on what channel you pick, the right set of scripts are going to get picked up and get executed. Right? So we are taking the same test case and trying to run it on the web. Right? So when I try to run this on the web channel, what is actually happening now is my rational functional tester functional test is kicking in. It goes in, it fires up a browser, it goes to the exact website, right? Types in the text that I have configured, and then verifies that I actually find that hotel or no, right? So all this is being run using the RFT functional test. Now the functional test is once it is over, we can go and see the results. So you can find out that yeah, my test environment was Firefox, Windows, and Android phone, but I executed this on the web channel, right? So it means it ran on the Firefox browser, and then the result is passed. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the same test case, right? So that's where the real fun begins. Is I'm taking the same test case, right? This is not an entirely different set of test case. I'm taking the same test case, and this time around, I'm going to execute this on the mobile channel. So the same test case is now being run on the mobile channel. And this time around, what will happen is you will have the scripts for mobile be picked up. So this time around, it's the Rational Test Workbench mobile scripts that is running in the background. So it goes, it fires up the emulator, right? It goes, runs the script. Right, the same test, but this time around it's a different paradigm, right? The same web test will not run. The same asset which you recorded for the web will not run on mobile, so you have to go record it. But essentially, functionally, it's doing the same thing. So now the test is over, right? In the Android simulator that I'm using here, and then now I can come back and look at the results. And in the results, I can see that a new result has been created, and right, for the same test case, I have two results created. One is for the mobile channel, another is for the web channel. So now I can actually find out how am I doing for the same business flow on the web channel as well as the mobile channel. Right? So typically while authoring a a high-level test script. Now, let's say, for example, I'm authoring here a verified car search, right? The same website, TripAdvisor, also allows me to book cars. So I'd say search for car. That's my first keyword that I've added. And then I say specify rental agency. That's my second keyword that I've added. And now I'm going to add a new, instead of typing the steps, which says what is the next step, I'm going to now open up my keywords. Now this is my framework, right? Domain-specific framework that I built using keywords. Now let's say I want to search. So these are all my hotel-specific keywords that I have. Say hotel to favorite list, specify hotel parameter, search hotel. So I could compose a test case using this framework. Now what we are doing a car. We are writing a script for the car section of the website. What I want is now to add a step which says go purchase using the credit card. Right? I am actually seeing a keyword here which says there's a keyword which allows me to say that, yeah, you can purchase using a credit card. I'm just going to go add that. Right? So now my script is search for car, specify rental agency, purchase using credit card. Now let's see what is in the purchase using credit card keyword, right? Let's go to the detail of this keyword. Now this keyword has a test script, the purchase using credit card, which is currently assigned to the web, and it's of type manual, right? A couple of minutes ago we saw a demo of how we could run automation scripts, right? But we know that there are a lot of people still using manual scripts. So this is the manual script. Right? I can still derive the benefits of using a domain-specific framework and the ease of reading, the readability of tests. Doesn't matter what kind of a test I'm doing. So now let's look at the details of the script that is associated. Right? Now you see the script is, I have 4 steps here in the script. I'm not too much worried at that level when I'm composing the high-level test case on the details of the script. For all you know, I may not even have anything written yet, right? So authoring of the test steps themselves can be deferred to a later stage, but you can still start composing a top-level business flow by looking at your requirement documents or your use case documents. Typically you would need to write this level of details. You would need almost the product ready to know where which button is and how many fields are there. So, but you need not stop writing the test cases for mapping to the use cases right up to the end. And this is a typical problem we see that happens, right? Is that the test authoring kind of starts lagging behind the development, and in the agile and continuous delivery models, there is no time for literally anything. You have to be on the go all the time. You put a little change and then you have to roll it out to production. The time between the change and production is very less. So I don't have to worry about the details. I can start putting the details in as the app becomes available, but I can still go ahead and build a top-level business, a top-level script which kind of closely approximates my use case.